prisons are bursting at the seams.
Yeah, bro, listen, South Grand.
Struggling to cope with rising numbers. We were given exclusive access to Glenochil prison, to the wing housing some of Scotland's most notorious sex offenders and murderers. So don't be fooled by the quiet nature of this hall. Its silence speaks to the number of prisoners growing old within these walls, none of whom would speak to us about the conditions.
A lot of people don't want to work in this flat, simply because of the type of prisoners we've got, the age of the prisoners we've got. We had one recently that just passed away a couple of weeks ago, and he was well in his late 80s.
And not what you're trained to be dealing with?
No,
you're not in a hospital?
No, you're not a hospital, you're in a care home. But
you feel like one?
It's getting more and more like a care home.
How you been feeling today? You all right?
It's shaky.
Right, shaky.
This is a side of prison you don't normally see, where agency social care staff are working 24/7 alongside prison officers. They wanted us to witness the pressures they face. It's care that vulnerable older people in the community often miss out on, but while in custody, there's no choice but to provide it.
Right, we'll pop back just shortly and see you. Are you needing anything else?
What are some of the challenges of providing social care in a prison setting?
Well, for example, I mean, if you take a look in here, obviously it's just a 4x4 kind of cell. There's 2 to a cell, and if you're providing care and things like that, trying to get like a hoist in can be very, very difficult.
And sharing this cell is a man in his 70s and another in his 80s.
They get stressed with it, and we understand that. They know that there's nothing else that we can do. If they've got dementia and stuff like that, you know, they can kick off at any moment in time. But that's why we've got our officers here.
The idea of a prison care home?
Oh, that'd be a great idea, definitely. You wouldn't have 70-year-olds climbing up in bunk beds.
The cost of this care is crippling for the prison service. In Scotland alone, it rose 450% in just over 5 years to almost £2.9 million.
Over the past 15 years, the number of prisoners aged over the age of 50 has trebled here, meaning that age group makes up for more than a quarter of the whole prison population at Glenochil. With that brings extra complex care and mobility needs, putting pressure on an already overstretched prison and healthcare system.
That's a challenge Glenochil's governor is grappling with each day.
So we have in total 700 prisoners within here,
as her population exceeds capacity.
Here is one of the examples we have of our accessible cells that we've had to make some adaptations to. So prior to this, it had double beds in it.
So we need 2 people in here?
Yeah, it would be bunk beds in here. Effectively, it's taken away 1 bed, so that reduces my overall design capacity within the prison.
The only way to get a hospital bed into
It's the only way
cell.
to be able to care for the person and make sure that their needs is met.
I'm just going to get some cream on your back, pal, right?
Removing over 60s from this prison would put Glenochil below capacity. The governor believes it's time to radically rethink the system for this age group.
It may be that actually less secure facilities is an option and it would be more suitable, or indeed is it appropriate that we manage these people in the community.
And what difference do you think that would make to the prison and what you're able to do on a day-to-day basis?
I think the less people we have in prison, the more we can look after the people who really do need to be in prison.
But some would argue these prisoners should be serving their entire sentence locked up, whether it's suitable or not.
I fully appreciate some of the society's view on that, but these people can still be safely managed in a far less secure environment. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're required to be accommodated in a prison.
This is a system at breaking point, no longer fit for purpose, unable to cater for this growing and ageing population while putting excessive strain on staff.
Now, Louise, politicians talk a lot about overcrowding, but they don't really talk about this unseen side and about the fact it really is adding growing pressure, isn't it?
It is, and it was why we were invited in. The Scottish Prison Service were keen to show us the pressure this puts on the system that's already feeling the strain, particularly on staff. We could see the toll it was taking on them. It was a surprising environment. In some parts of the wing, I did feel like I was in a care home, but then next I would see the faces of some of Scotland's most notorious criminals, reminding me that I was in a high security prison. Now, some people may be surprised to see just how the level of social care given to prisoners may be better than what some receive in the community, but prisons must provide this no matter the cost, whereas many councils say they have a limit due to budgets. Now, governments across the UK are looking at this prison system. The Scottish Government told us that they are looking at a new specialist model of imprisonment for older peoples, whether this is a separate establishment where that older age group could be housed, and social care would be concentrated in one place rather than split across the entire prison estate at that extremely high cost. But there's no timeline in place, and it's clear from our visit to Glenochil that something needs to change soon, as this growing, ageing population is only on the rise.